This is your 420 Radio News for Thursday, April 25th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. Colorado court says off-the-clock marijuana users don't have job protection, from the San Jose Mercury News. A divided Colorado Court of Appeals panel on Thursday upheld the firing of a man for off-the-job medical marijuana use, concluding that because marijuana is illegal under federal law, employees have no protection to use it anytime. The decision, which is precedent-setting, has broad implications not just for medical marijuana patients, but for any adult using marijuana in Colorado since voters legalized the substance in November. The case is the first to look at whether off-duty marijuana use that is legal under state law is protected by Colorado's Lawful Off-Duties Activities Statute. The statute says employers can't fire employees for doing legal things off the clock. Said the state's medical marijuana law only creates exemptions for prosecution and not rights, Thursday's ruling by the Colorado Court of Appeals reaches a much broader conclusion that nothing illegal federally can be considered lawful under the Lawful Off-Duty Activities Statute. Judge John Webb disagreed, saying that a lawful off-duty activity statute should be read as only concerning state law. The statute, Webb argued, was intended to protect employees from discriminatory firing. Also from Colorado, a hemp grower is the first to plant historic U.S. crop in decades, from the Denver Post. Ryan Laughlin plans to make history, becoming the nation's first commercial-scale hemp grower in almost 60 years. In a few days, he will plant his hemp crop on a farm in the southeastern corner of Colorado. He grew up on a farm in Springfield, and Laughlin, now age 40, returns, leasing 60 acres of his father's alfalfa farm to plant the crop and install a press to squeeze the oil from the hemp seeds. He'll have a jump on other farmers, with 400 starter plants already growing at an indoor facility prior to transplanting them in the field. Until the federal-state legal disconnect is resolved, growers face the challenge of starting an industry without the benefits held by conventional farmers, such as federal crop insurance. Based on data from Canada's legal hemp industry, hemp seed generates revenue for farmers of $390 per acre, according to Eric Hunter, Director of Research and Development for Hemp Cleans, a Colorado-based advocacy group. Michigan marijuana decriminalization bill introduced with bipartisan backers, from Michigan Live. Democratic State Representative Jeff Irwin of Ann Arbor wants to decriminalize marijuana in Michigan, and at least 2 Republicans agree that it's time to have the debate. Irwin, who represents a city that enacted a similar policy decades ago, introduced a bill today that would make the possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana a civil infraction punishable by a fine rather than a misdemeanor offense punishable by up to a year in jail. The Michigan bill would not legalize the drug, but it would change the penalty for small-time possession from possible jail time to a fine of $25 for a first offense, $50 for a second offense, or $75 for a third offense. California medical marijuana regulation bill passes state assembly committee, from HuffingtonPost.com. A bill to regulate California's billion-dollar medical marijuana industry cleared a major hurdle Tuesday when the state assembly's public safety committee voted to move it forward. AB 473, introduced by Assemblyman Tom Amiano, would require all pot-related entities, except for caregivers and patients, to follow rules to be created by the Department of Alcohol and Beverage Control. New York State lawmakers push for medical marijuana law, from CBS New York. Lawmakers and terminally ill patients gathered on the steps of City Hall on Thursday to call for the passage of a medical marijuana law in New York State. New York State Assembly Health Committee Chair Richard Gottfried, New York City Councilman Daniel Drum, and State Senator Diane Savino were on hand to urge their colleagues to pass a medical marijuana statute. One colleague who was not present was Stephen Katz, the Republican New York Assemblyman. According to HuffingtonPost.com, his marijuana charge has been dropped. Marijuana possession charges against this assemblyman will be dropped if he completes 20 hours of community service. The lawyer for Stephen Katz, a Republican from Mohegan Lake in the Hudson Valley, says there were difficulties in proving that he had marijuana when he was stopped March 12th on the state thruway. Police say they pulled him over for driving 80 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone, smelled marijuana, and found a small bag of the drug. Susan Hannah Lask says the marijuana charge, a violation, was adjourned in contemplation of a dismissal. The speeding ticket was reduced to a parking violation. Besides the community service, Katz was fined $75. And from CBSLocal.com in New York, they note that his constituents said the situation's interesting considering Katz had previously voted against legalizing medical marijuana in New York. That's your 420 Radio News for Thursday, April 25th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines and take a look at the celebrities, the young celebrities, who have been caught recently using marijuana, and statistically why it's no big deal to their followers. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.